Good morning, friends, and welcome to episode 112 of Looking at Stamps. And today we are going to continue looking at 10-cent stamps. And the first is the airmail stamp Charlie 74, C74, which commemorates the 50th anniversary of airmail service. This was issued in 1968 and featured the Curtiss Jenny, which was a 90 horsepower biplane that delivered mail between New York City and Washington, D.C. It's always been a favorite of mine because of the blue background and because of the New York City connection, but it's a great stamp to add to your catalog if you are into planes or mail history, or postal history, I should say. And that is C74, the 50th anniversary of airmail. The next stamp is one of my favorites for a variety of different reasons. This is the Expo 74 World's Fair stamp that happened in Spokane, Washington. The theme of the World's Fair that year was Preserve the Environment. I've always enjoyed this particular stamp because of the artist that created it. This was Peter Max, who was the pop art and psychedelic artist of the 60s and 70s. And it's always been one of my favorite styles. As a kid in the 60s and 70s, no household was without at least one Peter Max poster. And he's still currently living. He lives in New York City. He has a lot of exhibitions in Florida, and he has a couple galleries in Florida. So if you're in that area, go check those out. You can actually go online and buy some of his artwork and posters if you have an extra $1,400, $1,500 to spend on a poster. Go for it. But right now, I'm going to have to live through these postage stamps and the posters, reproduction posters that are out now. So that is 1527, the Peter Max designed Expo 74 World's Fair, issued in 1974. Another stamp that was issued in 1974 is one of your favorites, especially around Halloween. This is the Legend of Sleepy Hollow 1548. This was based upon the story by Washington Irving, who is considered as America's first best-selling author. My students always used to love this particular story because it's about a timid school teacher that gets chased by the Headless Horseman. I used to teach comparative literature in high school, and this is one of the stories that we read. It's always been one of my favorites, one of my favorite authors as well. And I have submitted a postage stamp design to the USPS for a release in 2023, which would commemorate the 250th anniversary of Washington Irving's birth. We'll see how it goes. Keep your fingers crossed that gets released or picked up by the USPS. But we do have a postage stamp, a 1-cent postage green stamp with his image on it, but I think it's time to add him to the literary arts stamp series. So keep your fingers crossed. But I love this blue background and this orange background, and then the silhouette against those two colors. I think it's a very striking stamp. And that is the Legend of Sleepy Hollow 1548. Another stamp that's apropos this year is 1571, also was released in 1975. And this is the International Women's Year stamp. And it's apropos because this year we celebrate the centennial of the 19th Amendment, which is the Women's Right to Vote Amendment. And I'm planning on pairing this particular stamp with that stamp and the Gwen Ifill Forever stamp to send international postage when all of those stamps are released. I think that's going to be a great combination of stamps. In 1975, the UN declared that year as the International Year of Women, or International Women's Year. I always get that backwards, but International Women's Year. And finally, another stamp from postal history, a stamp I shared with you before. This is 1572 to 1575. This celebrates the post office's bicentennial or 200 years of postal service. And this stamp shows the 4 different modes of mail delivery. We have road, rail, air, and space. You know my affinity for trains, so I've always enjoyed this particular stamp, especially it shows the train and the locomotive train as well. And so it's one of my favorites. And so if you are into postal history, once again, this is a great stamp to add to your collection. And that is all the time we have today. Thank you very much for following along. I'll talk with you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.